Bees are all over this tree. There's tons of them. This is the back of Hive 4. Looks like they're starting to add propolis again from the inside. Looking at the front, there's a little bit of new as well. That one's actually mostly covered up. That also has some new propolis on the edges. No, it's partially covered, about halfway covered. The maple blossom that fell. These are the nukes. Those are actually completely covered just a few days ago. Whenever the ice storm, when they were completely covered. Now they're completely open. They only have one upper entrance for ventilation, so. I did find a lot of pollen on the ground over by our big hives, and that very well could be from these Guardian hive entrances if the bees are going up through the holes. You know, the bees easily bridge from here to there. I'm wondering if I can just cut that part off so that it gets beyond that and it's to the solid part of the piece. Let's see if I can take a picture of that after I do that. This is the Guardian's small hive beetle entrance. It's supposed to reduce the small hive beetles that can get in. Kind of interesting idea. So if the bees come in, there's actually a slight upward angle to it. So if the beetles come underneath, they have nowhere to go. So they come up and around and they just continue around and around. The issues that I think the bug farmer has seen, and I think I may be seeing as well, is when the bees try to come up through this, they may be dropping some pollen. I've seen bees go through it and haven't dropped pollen, but I am seeing pollen on the ground too. I know pollen on the ground could also be contaminated pollen that they're throwing out of the hive. So, but I really do think that these holes may be the issue. This is actually a two-part design. This inside part slides out, so that can be on the hive without that part too. And this wouldn't really do anything, so it doesn't have the ridge on the inside, which is actually part of this for them to get into. But what I did is I took one and I chopped off the front part. So you still have the vertical gap along the bottom, and then also all the way around it's just cut off flush. I don't know if the bees will have a hard time navigating it. They don't seem to have a hard time with this, and it's lifted up. But I was gonna give this a try on one of the hives that seems to be dropping a lot of pollen, just to see if there's much difference between it and the hives next to it. And hopefully that'd be some sort of a solution to that. So when I smoke the entrance of the hive, sometimes I see small hive beetles come out of here. So some of them are getting trapped and not going in, but you still see small hive beetles in the hive as well. So it's not 100% foolproof, but if it helps reduce them, we'll probably keep them on. All right, we got our visitor. But let's see if that works. There's our visitor. She always likes to see what we're doing. But yeah, give that a try. And let's just cut the fronts off. She's a little oscillating tool to cut them off. It is Thursday, February 9th. This is Hive 4's bottom board. There are 144 mites on the bottom board. This is Hive 3, and this is 4 days after an OA treatment, and it has 59 mites. And again, this is a running total, so I need to subtract from what I did last week. Hive 2 has 14 mites. Hive 1 had a lot of debris, but I was able to count 8 mites. Again, this is a running total. It's Friday, February 10th. It's about 46 degrees. And I'm gonna go ahead and do an OA treatment. Looks like everybody's in the hives right now. It was 55 degrees today, so they're probably not clustered. And I'll look in the top clear inner covers to make sure. Looking in the hives, they're definitely not clustered. I don't know if I can set this up where you all can see it, but I'll give it a shot. It's now about 5:30, so it'll take about 15 minutes for me to get all of our hives done, and that's more me stuffing the entrances and stuff like that. I'm gonna wait 10 minutes now, and then remove those entrance covers and let it breathe. I did tape the upper entrances this time. I saw some vapors coming out of there, so hopefully I'll get that full dose. And then we'll be able to count the mites in a couple days. There are a lot of bees in this box. The OA drove them up to the top, but there's a lot in there. Starting to put nectar or honey in there. Pretty dark. They're agitated because of the OA, but this hive is one of the lighter hives. Well, it's second to the lightest, but it is losing weight very quickly. And judging by that population, it's probably because there's a lot of brood in here. It's being fed an open larvae. It's Saturday the 11th. It's about 49 degrees. Just gonna walk past this and see all the girls collecting water out of this tote. A lot of them coming and going. That black tote must be making the water a little warmer. More attracted to that than what's in the bird bath. Today's Sunday, February 12th. It's about 51 degrees. And all that pollen out there, that was what I put out at the beginning of the week. They're not taking much. They did take some, but they're really active in the trees. They are collecting water. And then some are even getting on some of the propolis. Sometimes I just put the chunks out here in the sun, and that lets them kind of collect it and put it back in the hive. We're going to look at these girls. Quite a bit of activity on the nukes. Looks like the hives are about the same. Gotta walk over that way. Maybe you can see them better now. Cleansing flights, maybe even orientation flights. It's been pretty warm. Oh wow, quite a few of them. Beautiful day out here. It's warm in the sun. I'm gonna get to painting my swarm trap and let it air out this week and try to get it hung. I would think that with the weather the way it's been, kind of early, probably middle of February, the next week or two, maybe even see swarms then, but it's probably more likely going to be March, but it's always good to be prepared. Let your equipment air out and leave it baited for a while so the bees can find it. These are silver maples, but they're full on blooming now. You can see that. Try to get as close as I can. There's a campus near us, and they have Japanese cherries, I believe is what it was. It's blooming. And our plum trees are actually blooming right now as well. Try to get a picture of that. And this is a cornelian cherry dogwood. Its blossoms are definitely swelling up, but not quite blooming yet. These are our plum trees that are blooming. saw a bee fly off of one next to it, but it's about to pop. At one point I had these all espaliered out, but it's kind of a lot of management, so I just kind of let them go. Let them grow out, but they're really close to the hive. There's an apple tree here on the right side. This is our apple tree. It's kind of hanging over this little pond here. Just leave this for the bees and any other wildlife. And there's our hives and our nukes. I think it's just amazing how different hives have such a different personality, different activity at different times of day. Hive 4, which is busy before. Hive 3 is just tons of bees out. 2's busy. 1's pretty busy. You look over at the nukes. Not as busy as they were. Seeing a good amount of pollen coming in. Getting close here. Yellow pollen, a little bit of orangish. Oh, that one's pretty light. It's the really light yellow, almost white. So I spoke with Gus Mitchell about pollen substitutes and pollen patties because I saw Cayman Reynolds put a lot of on his hive, but he's in a different place in Tennessee. And Gus Mitchell's point of view was that you don't need it where we are here in West Tennessee. And from everything that I'm seeing, I'm tending to agree. But they may need fed though, just to keep up with their needs if there's not enough stores on the hive. But hopefully we'll find that out this year. Scales and see how low they can go and be safe. It's supposed to be 74 degrees on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, so I don't know if I have an opportunity to get into them, but I would kind of like to look in the lightest hive just to make sure the stores are right, or the stores are good enough just for this time of year. But I'll try to look in the top of the hives here this evening and see what's going on. A lot of cleansing flights. Painting the swarm trap about 50 feet away, and I'm getting pooped on. Bee poop. Getting little streaks on everything. These are definitely cleansing flights. Visitor. It is Sunday, February 12th. There are 13 mites in this hive 1, and I let it get a little too far. It's really time consuming counting the mites with all the debris that's in here. So, and again, this is a continuous, a running total, so I need to subtract this from whatever I find. And there are 9 small hive beetles. I will be filtering stuff today. So, Hive 2 has 26 mites. I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, but Friday, almost 48 hours ago, I did an OA treatment. And then 5 days previous to that, I did an OA treatment. So this is a running total of all the mites that fell after 2 OA treatments, which was done last Sunday and this past Friday. This is still Hive 2, but I forgot to mention there is 1 small hive beetle. This is Hive 3. There are 103 mites, and I only saw 3 small hive beetles. Hive 4 has 221 mites. Again, this is a running total. And I see 5 small hive beetles. A couple interesting things I saw in here. Let's see if I can get something to point with. Right down there where that stick is. See some sort of larvae. There's some interesting little fly and interesting little beetle. Very small. But that's it. I'm not going to let the boards get this dirty anymore because that takes way too much time to count mites when they're dirty. Nuke 1 has 4 mites and 7 small hive beetles. I'll try to show, I think I found a male mite actually. So that is a female mite. And let me see if I can point to this. That is a female mite. This down here, I believe, is a male mite. You just see the size difference between the two. This is the male. That's the female. Now it's definitely not a baby because the younger female mites are almost the same size, a little bit smaller, but they're white or clear, and those would be the daughter mites. But I think that's the first time I may have seen a male mite. I hope that's focusing on the camera there. This is Nuke 2. It has 8 mites, and I only saw 1 small hive beetle. I'll go through and double check that. If it's different, then I'll make another little clip to add to this. Now the nukes did not receive OA vaporization. That was because they don't have a way for me to treat into the box without drilling a hole in it. The other ones have slatted racks that I've drilled into. I will be adding slatted racks from Bohemia Bees. They have 5-frame slatted racks that I'll be adding to my nukes so that I can have a hole to be able to treat through. That's all. Wanted to watch to see how the bees navigate without that little front landing thing, and they seem to be getting in just fine. They sort of had to bridge the gap. They came from that landing board anyways. But this way they won't have an opportunity to lose any of that pollen. seem to be getting in just fine. I'm going to look at the next hive and you can see how they're getting in and out with the regular bottom on there. They kind of get a little bit backed up and they kind of get underneath around the edges. But again, this hive had more activity, so that's not conclusive, but it's interesting to see. See if I can see the other hives or not. Don't have as much activity, so it's kind of hard to see for sure. So just land on it and go on in. It's probably the way it's designed. Sometimes it's a bottleneck though. Yeah, I'll give this a try for a week, and then if I see promising results, then I'll probably modify the rest of them. I'm not sure if I mentioned in the other video, but small hive beetles sort of walk along the landing board, and then since that opening that they go into is elevated, they sort of just go along the outside edge. They do get in the hive somehow, and they may even go in through this entrance, but it definitely reduces it. Sometimes when I smoke the entrance when I'm getting into hives, you can see them scurry out from underneath that, the bottom edge of that. Pretty interesting to see, but hopefully I can capture some of that this year. If not, then when I'm editing my old video, I've definitely got that on video somewhere else. But now it looks like it seems to be working fine right now. They sort of just bridge and then climb right up to it. That may be an easy modification to keep them from potentially losing any pollen as they try to squeeze through that entrance, or at least keep them from slowing down too much and bottlenecking on the entrance. But again, we'll just give it a try for a week and see how it all shakes out. I'm getting the swarm trap together. Went ahead and baiting it and everything. I just have a bag. I do seal it up, but it's got like holes in it that were punched in it. It was used for something else, but just to let this dry out slowly. And just put a few sprays of this spray. This is a lure by Anel. I got this with the trap. But interesting, it does not smell at all like lemon oil, but has an interesting smell to it. So I'm going to bait this one with the Anel, and then I have Swarm Commander that I'll put in the other box. It's gonna be hard to compare because again the swarms will be from our yard, so but give it a try. This is where we're putting the swarm trap. Again, these are mostly for RBs, but we had a swarm that landed on this branch last year. The hives are over there. So we'll look into Hive 1 later in the day on Sunday. Someone that's enjoying using their leaf blower today, so sorry about that. Wow, there's a lot of propolis on those top bars. This is going to be fun to open up. This is looking into Hive 2. If you do decide to get brood minders, I put this little mark on mine. So this is for Hive 2, and it's the upper one. Sometimes they got the upper and the lowers mixed up, so it kind of messed it up a little bit. It didn't really mess up the readings, but they weren't consistent until I started putting all that markings and stuff on there. You feel a lot of heat coming out of here. I'll close this up. This is Hive 3. There's quite a few bees in there. This is my light hive too, so keep an eye on stores. So look into Hive 4. Busy, busy. I don't know if they're moving that up or if they're actually finding something out there. Fun to watch. This is probably the closest I may get to having an observation hive. I was noticing this tree is in full bloom, this maple, but the one right next to it hasn't even started yet. It's crazy. And this one in the next yard also is not blooming yet. Can't imagine what the difference would be. Probably be the last video for this week, so thanks for watching, and hopefully everybody's enjoying. Please leave me a comment if there's anything that you think that I need to change or anything that you like. I'm going to try to edit a little bit with a little bit less music. Someone made a comment of that, so I'm going to try to tone that down a bit. But if you like that, let me know. If you're enjoying the music, then I'll try to do a nice balance if I can. Again, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. See you next time.